With your permission, Mr Speaker, I'll answer questions 2 and 13 together. Since the last oral question was in March, the Government has consented the Rampion 2 offshore wind farm, creating 4,000 jobs, reached FID on HyNet CCUS, creating 2,000 jobs, invested $300 million through Great British Energy into UK clean energy supply chains, shortlisted 27 companies, hydrogen companies for HAR 2, and created a new $100 million fusion investment fund. This Government is building the clean energy future in Britain.
Jimmy Stone.
Mr Speaker, the reason I was here on that Saturday when Parliament was recalled was because some of the mightiest structures in the North Sea were made out of British steel and they were made at the Nig yard. And when we come to renewables, can I ask the Secretary of State, what are we doing about getting out these skills to fabricate floating offshore wind structures in the UK?
Well, that's very much part of our plans, Mr Speaker. And in March, actually, we announced over, as he will know, $55 million for the expansion of the Port of Cromarty Firth, and that is about creating the offshore wind supply chains in this country. Take that alongside the announcement with GB Energy that we made last week, $300 million for supply chains. We are determined that we don't just generate the offshore wind in Britain, but we take advantage of the huge economic opportunity it is.
Christine Jarvie.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I hear what the Secretary of State is saying, but in the past decade, Scotland's oil and gas industries have lost 40% of their jobs as they decline. And today there are warnings from Grangemouth that they may have to pause important projects to switch to greener and more sustainable energies because of what they describe as the soaring energy bills and the pressures of income tax. We know Grangemouth needs investment, but it needs more than the Government is doing at the moment. So what is the Government planning to do to intervene to protect jobs in these communities that could be hollowed out if Grangemouth isn't saved?
Well, she will know in relation to Grangemouth that we inherited the situation from the last Government, but we set aside £200 million to build the future in Grangemouth. We're working closely with the Scottish Government on precisely that. That is a government-to-government collaboration. On her wider question about industrial energy prices, we should obviously look at what different sectors are saying. I just make this point in relation to steel, though. There's a lot of nonsense being talked about this. UK Steel says categorically that the difference between our prices and those of continental Europe are because of our reliance on natural gas power generation. That's why, well, they say rubbish, but that's what UK Steel says. That's why our clean power mission is right for families and right for business.
Thank you very
much, Mr Speaker. Today is the end of over a century of refining at Grangemouth. Scotland once again is a victim of industrial vandalism and devastation, and I don't want anyone in this chamber to dare mention a just transition, because we all know that the Conservatives when in power and the SNP currently in Holyrood did nothing to avert this catastrophic decision happening. I put it to the Secretary of State. The Labour leadership in the general election campaign said they would step in and save the jobs at the refinery. What has changed, and why have we not done the sensible thing for Scotland's energy security?
Well, my honourable friend is talking about a very, very important issue, and Grangemouth has a really important role in Scotland. What I would say to him and to others is this Government, as soon as it saw the situation it inherited, put money in to help the workers and has made this huge investment commitment of £200 million, working hand in glove with the Scottish Government, so we absolutely build the future in Grangemouth. We are absolutely committed to building the future for Grangemouth communities, and we look forward to working with him and members across the House to do that.
Ewan Steinbank.
Speaker, yesterday signified International Workers' Memorial Day. At a service this weekend in Falkirk, a Grangemouth refinery worker rightly called for oil and gas workers' skills not to be considered obsolete, but utterly essential for the just transition. What consideration are ministers giving to the urgent policy recommendations in Project Willow to provide accelerated investment in clean energy infrastructure and the jobs it promises for Grangemouth?
Well, my honourable friend, also a really powerful advocate for his constituents, is absolutely right about this. Project Willow, it was left lying on the shelf by the last government. We put the money in to take Project Willow forward. Now we're going to implement Project Willow. And absolutely crucial to that is making sure that the skills of oil and gas workers are properly used in the future, including with the skills passport, also which lay dormant under the last government and which we are powering ahead with.
Claire Young, Liberal Democrat spokesperson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Through my work on the Select Committee, I've heard repeated concerns from industry leaders that existing workers in their 50s and 60s see no point in retraining because they believe they will see out their careers supporting old technologies. This has a knock-on impact on young entrants into the workforce who would traditionally have learnt their skills from more experienced workers. So can the Secretary of State outline what steps he is taking to incentivise retraining to support growth in the renewable energy sector?
Well, the Honourable Lady raises a really important point, and that's why we are working across government with the Department for Education to make sure that we have not just the Clean Power Plan, which is going to help create hundreds of thousands of jobs across the country, not just our investment in supply chains, which I talked about earlier, but crucially that we offer the opportunities to younger workers and inspire them about the possibilities that are available, but also we create opportunities for older workers as well. And all of that work is ongoing in government.
Mohammed Jas.
3, please, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
We are working closely with the Brazilian presidency to support a high-ambition outcome at COP30 in Belém that reflects the scale of the challenge and our shared 1.5 goal. This includes ambitious new NDCs and effective implementation of the global stocktake commitments, as well as action on issues like deforestation and methane emissions.
Mohammed Jas.
Speaker, it was encouraging to see the Prime Minister's commitment to going further and faster towards net zero at the International Energy Summit last week, because not taking action on climate change will cost us much more than delaying action. So does the Minister agree with me that the clean energy is not only good for the planet, but can give my constituents in Bedford and Kempston energy security and lower bills?
Thank you. The Honourable Member is right. Other countries are looking to us, and the conference last week was a good example of us being back in the business of global leadership. Whether it's through the Global Clean Power Alliance or through our national mission to be a clean energy superpower, we are spearheading this transition because it is cheaper, cleaner and more secure, and his constituents will benefit from that too.
Bob Toogan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I welcome the announcement that was made only a few days ago that the government is going to adopt the amendment to GB Energy to prevent slave-made goods, meaning that they won't be balancing their environmental consciences on the backs of some of the world's most endangered and most troubled individuals in Uyghur population in Xinjiang. Will they be extending this to the private sector to make sure there are no slave-made goods coming into the UK? Because in my constituency, in New Ash Green and Ridley, we're seeing a solar panel farm being put in that is not only threatening the environment, but is also threatening to bring in slave-made goods into the United Kingdom.
Look, I would dispute that it's threatening the environment, but in terms of the wider issue that he raises, we will be looking at that through the Solar Industry Task Force.
Bill Eston, Chair of the Select Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The overwhelming majority of those at the International Energy Summit last week said that the transition to low-carbon energy is crucial to energy security. So does my honourable friend agree that those in this chamber and beyond who don't support the transition to low-carbon energy are playing fast and loose with this country's energy security?
Yeah, that is absolutely the case, and it was heartening to see so many countries and so many representatives from business come together at the conference last week. We are showing global leadership on this. We know that it is the way forward in terms of our energy security, not putting us at the mercy of dictators and petrostates. I thank the honourable gentleman for his support.
Gregory Capp.
Given the sheer scale of the outages in both Portugal and Spain over the past few days, is it likely that the conference will consider and possibly conclude that there is some correlation between the obsession with net zero and what happened in Portugal and Spain?
Well, First of all, I think the whole House will want to send support to Spain and Portugal following the incidents yesterday. There were no effects in the UK, but we do continue to closely monitor the situation and any lessons learnt from this event. I'm not going to speculate as to the causes of that event, but what we need to do is to ensure that our own systems are resilient as possible.
Just.
Question number 4, please, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
With your permission, Mr. Speaker, I will answer questions 4 and 11 together. International leadership on climate change is critically important for this government